are seeing the majority of people up here? You got a few on that one. And how many of you find that the counterpart is pretty important for you, but you're not that important to the counterpart? Okay. That's a horrible situation to be in, right? Anyway, the case in this one is it's a very good exercise to develop a bit and look into how to choose a strategy in your company. Because very often, basically, even though it's a very, very basic and simple task, some people get confused and start using zero-sum when you're supposed to work together, or might even start using partnership when it's just a very simple auction or tendering process that would be required. Now, when we're working, this is the last one I'm going to give you just before we're going to do a small exercise. This is what we call the strategic negotiation implementation process. And as we all know, water always runs down, right? That means that a process about implementing negotiation strategy have to start at the top. That means it's the executive level that needs to understand what's going on. And what is happening in a lot of cases around the world is that people desperately try to develop a negotiation process in procurement or in sales or in project or whatever. And the executive level don't basically understand what's going on. So when we're implementing with a client, what we basically need to do first of all is identify the challenges as the possibilities. We have to create a learning culture. We have to integrate and implement. And then we have to secure the success. And the way to do that is first and foremost to make a strategy. That was one of the 4 items I mentioned this morning. So we need to identify what is our strategy, what is our preferred strategy, and how can we change strategy if the environment changes. Then we need to evaluate what is the existing results we're getting out of our contracts today. Are they good enough, and how much do we think we could improve? Then we have to analyze and identify the variables and the potentials of added value. That means that we're negotiating on enough variables, as I mentioned a bit earlier. Then we have to identify internally who are the real stakeholders in negotiation. Should we do a kind of a dream team in negotiation where we find those who are superior in negotiating? And I can share a number with you. We have identified that up to 20% of professional negotiators are not actually qualified to negotiate. And it's not a question about education or intellect. They're just not qualified. And you know what the main reason is? They don't like it. They don't find it fun. So that's always a quality question to ask a potential negotiator. Do you really like the process? Because if you like it, there's a tendency you'll be good at it as well. Then we have the standardize. We have to create standards. We have to work in a certain way. We have to standardize language and reference frames. We have to institute a corporate training. So that means all organizations in the company need to understand what's going on. What is the concept of the chosen strategy, where we're going? We have to establish procedures, how to work with that. Then we have to evaluate the outcome and the impact of those changes. We have to challenge the barriers. One of the fun things is very often when a company tells me that